Hello and welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And today Dave will be showing me San Juan. So why did you pick this game?
Yes. So, Julie, I'm so excited to show this game to you.
Okay.
Because I don't want to hype it up, but this is one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm so excited to share this experience with you.
I swear you said that about Carcassonne.
I might have. Well, that was one of the games that got me into the hobby, so I had fond memories of it.
Oh, it's nostalgic.
San Juan is a game I discovered maybe a few years into gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard about this card game and another one that was like it that we'll talk about at another point in time.
Okay.
Called Race for the Galaxy. But San Juan is this card game that I kept hearing about in these videos I was watching and reading forums and stuff, listening to podcasts. And I decided to check it out through an app. And I started playing it, and I was like, wow, this game is really, really good. Because it is quick moving, but it's also very strategic for a card game. And to me, it just completely shifted my mindset of what a game can do. Originally getting into the hobby, I was really drawn to these games with a lot of cool components and pieces and things that you move around, which I still love. I love the tactile feel of stuff on the table. But this game got me to think of what can you do with a small number of components that's really smart and intelligent in a game design. And this game literally just uses a deck of cards and does it in such a fascinating way where it feels like you're playing a big board game with a lot of strategy and a lot of really cool moments and building up this engine. But it does it in a really just unique game design that I'm really excited to share with you. So that's why I decided to pick this game.
Okay. Are you gonna let me look at it?
Yeah, of course. Here it is.
Oh, well, I can tell this is your favorite game because it's like a well-loved book.
Yeah.
Well, did you get this used?
No, I didn't. I brought it brand new.
Okay. I like the corner. It says Ravensburger.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the maker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Key. You can have the rulebook. I don't need to read. Oh my god, what is this? What is... We have a score sheet?
A score sheet, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Are you gonna keep score?
We score at the end, yeah.
Oh, you score at the end?
It's just so you can keep track. It's an easy way to figure out how to score up your points. You don't really need it.
Oh, okay. Let's see these cards. Huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, a hut. Cute. This is interesting. Let's see. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's very... Oh, what is on this card? It's weird that your card has a crumb on it because knowing you wouldn't allow
No.
food around it.
Definitely not.
But yeah, I don't know. I have no guesses on anything about this game.
Anything about this? Well, there's more stuff in here. Let's see.
Well, I know there's more stuff, but they're all cards. They're just more and more cards.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even... How do you shuffle these? They have like no bend. I'm scared that I'm gonna... Wait, why would you put this in here? What are these? I really don't know. I don't have a guess. I'm sorry. Like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks like the art's
no guesses.
Cool. Oh, this one has a crumb on it too, Dave.
What
You're
is
failing me
going
right
on?
now. Yeah, I don't have any guesses though. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It might be hard to guess just by looking at these cards, but this is actually a game where you are building up this town of San Juan by using cards to essentially place cards in front of you. And, like we've played Dominion, and that's a game where you're buying cards to shuffle through a deck over and over and over again.
Yeah.
This game, you're putting cards in front of you, and those abilities you get for the rest of the game on an ongoing basis. You don't have to draw the card. It's just something that you continuously get.
Seems like a big game.
A big game in what way?
Like you're gonna have a lot of cards in front of you.
Oh, at most you'll have 12, because I think it's either 10 or 12. I have to look up the rules.
Oh,
but that's
okay.
when the game ends, is when somebody does that. So,
okay.
But the cool thing about this game is, so there are these 5 different actions. And really what this game is about is on your turn, you select one of these actions to perform, and we both get to do that same action, but you as the person who took it gets a special ability, and then that action is no longer available for the rest of the round, which is 3 actions in a round. So you would choose an action, I would choose an action, and then you would choose an action, and then they would reset. And then I would be the starting player, I would choose one, you would choose one, I would choose one. So we keep going back and forth, and they let you do things like build a card in front of you, or some of them will let you produce goods, and then later sell those to get more cards. Like, goods are cars in this game.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah, and so you're building cards, and they serve two purposes. They give you ongoing things that you can do, but then at the bottom they give you points. And then some cards have a question mark that give you points depending on what kind of conditions you fulfill over the course of the game, but they cost more. So there's a cost, so the bigger the cost, the bigger the reward, and the lower the cost, it is easier to get out. So that's really what we're doing in this game, and I'm really excited to show it to you.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I see it says privilege for the special actions, right, on these cards. Okay. Well, I don't have any follow-up questions. Oh, wait, no, I do have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
How is first player decided in this game?
Oh, let me look. Hold on 1 second. It says...
Oh, my gosh, okay.
Choose a starting player and give this player the governor card.
No, it doesn't. Give it.
Yeah, it says it right here. Choose.
Choose a starting player and give this player the governor card. What?
It's the least creative starting player condition I've ever seen.
Okay, but what happens if you're with somebody who's really competitive who wants to be first? I want to be first.
Well, do you want to roll a die, or how do you want to determine it?
Seeing as it's my first game, I deserve to be first. I deserve to be the governor.
You want to be the governor?
I want to be a governor.
Okay, you can be the governor for this first game.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay, well, that's all that I have. Are you ready to see the drink? I think the drink actually nails it based off the art and everything.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. The drink pairing.
You almost forgot?
Yeah, I'm so excited about showing you this game that I almost forgot to ask about the drink pairing.
Did I just almost draw before? Oh, no, I did. Okay. All right. So I cheated.
Okay.
So, first off, it is a mocktail because it is late. And then, 2, because it's a mocktail, I didn't know how to make a mocktail version of it. So I just went to the store and looked for something that is similar. So I found a sparkling version of it.
Okay.
Sparkling, like, water version. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so for you, David, I have a mojito. And I have a mojito for myself.
These look delicious. I'm really excited.
It's interesting that the can says innocent on it. The cup.
This looks delightful.
Okay,
Thank you for coming prepared, going to the store,
sparkling water,
browsing the aisles, looking for the perfect beverage to bring.
Yes.
So thoughtful of you.
All right, well, enough talk about this beverage that I'm not proud of. Let's get into game 1.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we are back.
Yes,
after your first game of San Juan, and I won a narrow victory with the 2-point lead. For your first game.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It was pretty close.
The game is not the game. Yeah, that's the game. The card deck is thick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. There are a lot of cards in this game.
Okay.
So how was your first game of San Juan? How easy was it to learn and pick up? What were your thoughts?
For me, it was very easy to learn. Very easy to pick up. Very simple. I like the art. I like it straightforward, but at the same time, it's still strategic. So I like it. Yeah.
Straightforward in what kind of way?
Straightforward in what kind of way? So the cards tell you what it is. So you have, let me see. Is it just, I thought there was one more. Is there one more?
Oh, the builder. Yeah, it's somewhere.
So you have 5, are these action cards?
Yeah, action tiles.
Okay, action tiles. And one literally says builder, one says producer, trader, counselor, and prospector. And then they literally have the actions on them and then the privilege for drawing them. So that's very straightforward. There's nothing to mess up about it because it's right there. And then each of the playing cards have it too. So it says like builder phase. So if you get a builder, then you can activate this action. Or if it's like a produce, like the indigo plant, that makes sense too. Like everything just makes sense. It's very straightforward.
It is. And I feel like the more games I play where things are ambiguous and confusing and I keep having to look up the rules and read things online, this is a game where everything is very clear on the cards what it does. There's no room for confusion.
And the points are very clear too. Because it's right on the bottom in red, a completely different color of the card, and it's saying this card specifically is 1 point.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's clear, maybe your first time, the only confusion is what kind of cards are in there that give you additional points.
Yeah.
I think the more you play it, you'll see those and know maybe certain strategies to go for. But were there any moments in your first game that stood out to you as exciting moments or things that just made it a fun experience?
Sorry, I'm just laughing because exciting moment. It was a false excitement.
Yeah.
When you had given me the starting cards of 4, I had gotten a card that had 6 on it, and I didn't know what that was. I thought that was just the end point at that time because I wasn't familiar with counting up the points. And that's fine because I preferred to know how to play the game and then count the points at the end. But with that on it, it said game end. And I was like, oh, did I just win the game?
Yeah, you just play this, the game ends, and you win.
And then you were like, oh, so the top 2 corners is how much that card cost. And then the other cards are used to pay for that card. And I was like, I don't have 6 cards.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't just win. And then later I found out that game end actually meant you just get more points at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, wow.
And initially, just playing it once, do you feel any kind of player interaction in this of having to watch what I'm doing and ways to get in my way or ways to interact at all?
To get in your way. Well, I guess there are different ways to get in your way, but I haven't seen them yet because this round I was more so trying to learn the game.
Yeah.
And I wasn't being really strategic with it. I was just kind of figuring out the cards that I liked. But after this game, I was just kind of like, oh, I really liked a certain card that I can't remember. Library? I think it was
the library. Where it doubles your privilege.
Yeah, the library. I even, during my move, I was like, this is a very Dave card.
I love that you can recognize that as a card because as soon as you played it, I was like, oh my god, that's one of my favorite cards in this game. Whenever I get that, I try to play it really early so you can use it the whole game.
Yeah, it's so nice.
I got that card in my hand toward the end of the game, and I was like, it's too late now. I throw this down. I'll use it a couple times, but I've also, when I've played that library card, whenever I have a turn where I don't get to maximize that library to get stuff, I feel so sad. Like, no, I'm wasting this produce to only do 2 buildings when I could do 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the interaction in this game, and you'll probably see this the more we play it, but you do really have to watch the other player because when you choose an action, you want what will do the best for you and not benefit your opponent very, very much. And you might have noticed one time I did the producer when you had all of your buildings full, so you didn't get to do anything, but I did. So there's a little bit of that.
I didn't realize you were being mean towards me.
I wasn't being mean. I was just capitalizing on
opportunities.
And I think as well as one of our favorite games so far, spoiler alert, this top 10 or 10 by 10 Azul is a game where you have to watch the other person who might be rushing the end of the game.
Oh my gosh. We're not going down that rabbit hole of Azul because no, not right now. We're talking about San Juan. Yeah.
So what do you think after just one play, meeple score, gut feeling, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a 5. It's a dime. 5? Yeah.
A 5? Wow, that's exciting. Are you just saying that because I said it's one of my favorite games?
No, because you said that you liked Space Base and I said trade it away.
Yeah, that's true. So you would tell it to me straight.
Yeah, I would tell it to you straight.
I
like it. I like this game because I literally learned it in like 5 seconds.
You did. I just taught you the actions and you were ready to go. Yeah,
I was ready to go. I didn't have questions except for when I did something wrong. You were like, you can't do that. And I was like, huh. But then I was good. So it's really smooth. It's a smooth game.
Yeah, and I also think I'm learning your style of learning games, so I maybe deliver the information better than in the past. But you seem to pick it up really, really fast. Yeah,
I just need you to give me the cliff notes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I fill in the rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is yours?
Oh, my meeple story?
Yeah.
After one...
Yeah, you can't just ask mine.
This is, 5 out of 5. Easy. And it's been a few years since I've played this game.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, as we started playing, I started remembering the cards that were in the deck, thinking, oh yeah, I could play this with that and do these different things. And this game, I don't know how many times I've played it over the years. And I still continue to love the game. It continues to be one of my favorites. So 5 out of 5.
Good.
Well, cool. Would you like to take the 10 by 10 challenge journey with San Juan?
I don't know. Have you ever been defeated in this game?
My win percentage has to be in the 90 percentile. Like, I win this game most of the times I play it. So we'll see.
Well, I can't wait to take that from
you. I can't wait either.
I can't wait to add the little trophy to my bag.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll see about that.
All right, well, here we go then.
Okay.
And we are back after our 10 by 10.
Yes.
And Dave, who won? Who won this game?
You're gonna make me say it?
Well, yeah.
You won this
I
game
did.
by a 2-point lead. So you won 6 and I won 4.
Oh, so I officially won.
Yeah, because you won by 2.
Ooh.
So that's. I thought this was one of my strong games.
You were talking a lot of talk.
Yeah. Because when I played this game in the past, I almost always won. Maybe it's because I played it with people once or something. But you had the chance to play several times in a row to develop your strategy and everything. So I feel like you caught on to this game fast. I mean, you won the first round that we played. I was going easy on you. Then I won the second one.
Oh, I won the first one? I thought I won the second one.
No, I can go back and look, but I'm pretty sure you won the first one.
Okay.
And then I won the second one, and then there was like a several...
No, I think the first one I lost by 2. And then the second one...
Oh, you're right.
We went longer, and anytime we go longer on games, I tend to win. And that's when I, won by a landslide.
That's right. Yeah, I won the first one, and then you won the second one, and then I won the next 2 after that, and then you had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game streak.
I had a 5-game streak.
Yeah,
okay.
And then I won the final one because I would have been sad if I had a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, maybe I just let you win. No, I'm kidding.
But good job. That was.
Thank you.
I think you caught on to this game really fast. I could tell after the first play that it really clicked for you. You didn't really have a lot of follow-up questions. We just jumped in. And then by the second game, you started to see different strategies that worked for you. And I think each game you seemed to hone in on a certain aspect of it and just really try to monopolize that area. So
yeah, I like this game a lot.
Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. So I believe I said after the first game that it's a smooth game to play. It is smooth. So it's very cut and dry. There's no gray area. There's no misinterpretation of things. Everything's extremely straightforward, very easy to follow. So it is an easy game
I agree.
On the surface level. But if you're playing with somebody who's more strategic like I am, then the game can kind of get frustrating. Because I was watching you, and I started to notice that you would pull certain, I don't know what these are, action cards?
Action tiles, yeah.
Yeah, action tiles in a certain way so that you would get the upper hand. And when I noticed that, I was like, you know what? Okay. Yeah. So then I looked at your hand and I was like, oh, it looks like he has 2 cards. I'll build. Or like,
so I couldn't build.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it looks like he has 1. I'll build. Or like, I would take the chance with 3.
It's true. And I love that aspect of watching the other person and pulling those action tiles at the right time so the other person doesn't get anything. And the prospector too, I love that because you get a card and the other person doesn't.
Right.
And especially when you combo that with something like the library that gives you double of whatever. Mm-hmm. So you get 2 cards, the other person gets nothing. So it's almost a fight each round for who took that prospector. But you're right, there were certain points where once you realized what those tiles can help you with and not help me with, I did notice that over the series of the games, you started taking things at the right moments. Like you would do the trader when I had no goods produced on my buildings, or do the producer when my buildings were full, or the builder, like you said, when I had a couple cards. So I was either forced to build nothing or just build like a 1 value card or something like that. So my whole tableau would be filled with not very good cards. Yeah. You did that really well.
Thank you.
Everything was timed. I made several comments. Ooh, that was timed so well. You did that perfect.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I would do too is if you would have no cards, that's when I would try to go for the prospector, because the counselor allows you to have a card, and I wanted you to start the next round without a card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
see? And my question for you, so this is the 8th game we've played into this 10 by 10.
Okay.
How would you have felt, do you think, if this would have been maybe the first game that I showed you in this 10 by 10? Do you think you have a better appreciation for it now that you've played like 7 games before this?
I think it was easy to follow because I played 7 games before this. Honestly, looking back, if we were to listen to the previous ones, I honestly think you would hear my growth of learning games, because if you were to show this to me prior to like Dominion, I think I'd be really confused.
Yeah.
Or prior to, what's another game that's similar to this that we had played in our 8x8? What's it called? Like Century? Century's kind of where the action things, where we're watching each other.
Yeah.
So I think that it was so smooth and easy for me to learn because I had prior knowledge of those games.
Yeah, and in my experience too, as I was getting into the hobby, the games that I initially played were a little bit harder to grasp, but as I learned more and more games, you'll notice that a lot of games borrow similar ideas, so the more games you play, the easier it is just to jump in and learn the rules really quick and then do really well your first game.
Yeah. And I also think that it may be easier for me to have learned this because you and I, for our 10x10s, really go hard in the paint on it.
Yeah.
We are playing so back-to-back viciously, like, with this because we want to do 10 games and do 10x10s for all that game. And that's 100 plays.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just becoming second nature for me. So I don't really have to think about the rules of the game. It's more so, I just have to think about winning.
Yeah, exactly. So what were some other things that you liked about this game that stand out to you?
Ooh, I don't know if yours was an extension, the one with expansion, that's the word, where they had a purple border, but they were city.
Yeah, they were more advanced cards. I think in the original version of the game, this is a second edition, the original version of the game didn't have those, but then you could buy them as an expansion, but this version just includes everything.
Okay.
But it suggested maybe their first play, you play without them, and then you just throw them in, because they're not that complicated, but they add a little bit of depth.
Yeah, so I really liked the ship one. What was that called?
The harbor.
The harbor. I like the harbor, and I like the bank a lot. Because when I started to notice your cards, I would do the math in my head of what you were getting, and then I would make up for it within my hand and just bank it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's what I did.
So you had your 5-game streak or mathing it all out.
I was mathing it all out. Yeah.
That's amazing. And the harbor, I feel like you got that early in the game, a lot of the games. That is a card I use a lot, but I had trouble finding it, or I just decided to try different strategies as I played. I'm not trying to make excuses for losing or anything.
Oh, no, you're making excuses. No, I'm kidding.
But I did notice that you got that early, which is great, because it lets you put a card under it for when you sell a good. So when you get it early, by the end of the game, you're selling goods throughout the whole game. So you can really bank up those cards. And then the bank, if you time it really well, and you did, I think in one or two of the games I noticed, that one lets you tuck all of the cards that you want to at the beginning of the round before you have to discard down to 7. So there was one game I remember where you had a bunch, it was like 13 cards in your hand, and I wasn't paying attention. I looked over and I saw this huge stack underneath your cards, and I was like, oh my gosh, she timed that so well. She has that huge stack. It felt like a whole deck of cards under there, honestly. Yeah, I think you won that one by a landslide.
Yeah, there was one where I was like, ooh, that must hurt.
What about the 6 cost buildings? How did you feel? Did you start to learn what 6 cost buildings were in there and build your tableau around working toward one of those? Is that how you approached it? Or what was your strategy there?
Yeah, so there was one that I liked in particular because it was just 1 victory point per city, and that was easier for me because cities to me were more valuable than productions. Yeah. Because you would have to trade, you would have to produce and then trade, so you'd have to do 2 turns to use a production, while for the cities you could use any time. True. Basically. So that's what I was trying to get, and there was, I think it was City Hall that allowed 1 victory point per city, so I would stack cities.
That's true, you were very city heavy.
Yeah, and there was another city card that allowed you to grab a card if you laid down a city. So I would always keep it to 2 or 3 productions, and then the rest would be cities. Even though there was a production card, like, I would just ignore that. I ignored all the other ones except for the city one.
You did. I love your strategy with that, because you probably noticed it's a little different than mine. I tend to go heavier in the production buildings because I need an economy of getting cards, because I feel like every game where I've tried to do the opposite, and I'll throw down like only 1 or 2 production buildings and then start to go on cities, for whatever reason, it slows me down and I have a hard time getting enough cards into my hand to do anything. Yeah. And in this 10x10 that happened once where I had like 1 production building and I started doing something else, and you raced ahead of me and you started building almost every time, and I was throwing down really low cost buildings because that's all that I could do. Yeah. And then I couldn't catch up, and then you won that game. I did. I haven't been able to pull that off, but somehow you found the way to make it work, and that's awesome. And for me, that's one thing I love about the game, is there's so many cool combos that you can discover as you play it. And to me, like, in terms of replayability of this game, that's where it is sure, it's just 1 deck of cards, and the game technically might feel similar every time, but there's cool combinations that you can discover that I'm still discovering today as I've played it
Yeah, I truly
times.
thought the game felt different each time
Mhm.
because I never could play it the same no matter what I did.
Right.
Because I never started with the same cards due to how big the deck is.
True.
It was always different cards. Like, if I took a picture of all 10 games, I was starting and ending with completely different cards.
That's true, and I do like games like that where it is a slight blend of luck and strategy in terms of, yeah, it's a strategic game, but you have to deal with what you're given and work with that strategically, and that's what makes the game different every time. You can't just sit down and say, this game I'm going to do exactly this, because you're literally dealt a hand of cards that you have to figure out what to deal with. Yeah.
And I feel starting with 4 makes it just difficult enough to
Yeah.
where you can't start off running. You have to start walking.
Exactly, and there were a couple games where, based on the cards in my hand, they were too expensive to be able to build on turn 1, so I had to spend a couple building it up. And then I had to find creative ways to make up for that as time went by, so...
Yeah, I remember when I first drew, like, the City Hall one, and I think it says End Game or Game End, and I was like, oh, I won!
Oh,
yeah. Come to find out, no.
No, this is points for the end of the game.
Yeah, but I really like that. And then I also like that it's all cards. So yes, you have these tiles here for actions, but this is a very easy game to set up because there really isn't multiple items that you have to set up, and you could technically carry this in a small box and bring it anywhere if you want to go like on a picnic or just bring it to a game cafe. You could, or your family's house, you could literally pack this up and bring it anywhere.
Yeah, this deck of cards and these tiles could fit in, a small bag, tuck box, or something like that really easily. It doesn't have to be this big box that it comes in.
Yeah, so I really like that because, you know, if we ever do go somewhere, this could be a game.
This is a good travel game that we could bring with us, exactly. That we could throw down, so...
That we could throw down.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with everything that you said. In terms of other things that I like, I really like the simultaneous nature of a lot of the turns, because in our last game, Space Base, that's one thing that I enjoyed is I roll the dice and you also get something on my turn. This game is a little bit like that in the sense that you take an action. It's an action I can do, but we don't have to wait for each other. We can both do it at the same time, so the game moves really quick. And in terms of playtime, the game was 20 to 30 minutes, but it just breezed by. I didn't notice or think about the time. So it felt like a very, very short, quick-moving game. Even in some of the ones that stretched to 35 minutes or so, it just still felt really fast.
It did. It felt really quick. And you and I always have a soundtrack playing in the background that we pick matches. So every time it went to commercial, it was like that 30-minute break, you know, because you get free uninterrupted for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it didn't register that it's been 30 minutes. We're like, oh, it's commercial.
Exactly. You summed it up perfectly when you said this game is smooth, and that's probably my favorite thing about the game is it's smooth, and I would say elegant. It's just a very nice, elegant game to put on the table. It looks nice. I like the cards. Everything is very straightforward and functional in terms of how everything is laid out. Like you said, the text on there is easy to read and interpret. Even though it had been a few years since I played this game, I only had to look at the rulebook maybe once. It's not a game where I constantly having to go back to the rulebook to interpret things, so that's really nice. Was there anything that you disliked about this game?
Was there anything I disliked about the game? Honestly, there wasn't anything I disliked about the game because I generally feel that this was such a smooth game. From amount of pieces, because there's not a whole different coin pile, even though I love games where they have coins because I love textiles and texture and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I have some games for you coming up.
Well, I look forward to it, but I really respect this game and how minimal it is. But yet you could still play and do different things with it. It is so dynamical or whatever that you don't need the rest. So I like it. I there's nothing I would change.
Yeah, and the only thing that comes to mind that I slightly dislike, if I'm going to name one thing, there's like a couple of cards in there that over my entire times playing this game, I've not found a way to make work very well. I think it's the crane, the one that lets you build up another card. I've used that maybe once, but I've found that it slows you down because the other person might be building up their tableau faster than you, and you almost end up losing out on points. So every time I've used the crane, I've ended up losing the game, and maybe I'm just using it wrong. But whenever that one gets into my hand, I'm like, oh, there's a card I can't use because I don't want to go that route. That's the only thing. There's so many cards in the game that doesn't really matter that much. But
I think you're just a fast player too.
Yeah.
Like you prefer to get to the end, especially when you're playing me, because you know my play.
If I keep the game moving slow, you will win because you have these grandiose strategies in your head that you have time to flesh out if I don't just rush to the end. So I have to keep it moving, otherwise I don't stand a chance against your master brain.
I know, and then we'll get to the end and it'll be like, oh, I have 51, and you're like, I have 11.
Yeah, how did that happen? I don't know. But that was really fun. What would you say after 10 plays? What would you give for a Meeple score of this?
It would be a 5.
Still remains a
5 out of 5 Meeple people.
That's amazing. And mine would be a 5 out of 5 still, too. I love this game. Who would you say this game... To sum it up, like, who would this be for? Who do you recommend this for now that you've given it a 5 out of 5?
I feel like can be for anybody. So, some people might find this game boring.
I think so.
Yeah. I really like it because I like chess, and chess is boring to people.
Yeah.
But I like this because it's very strategic, and you have to go about strategically on what you're going to lay down because you can only lay down 12 cards and the other person can get to 12 before you. So you really have to think. So I would say it's for the people that enjoy games that may be longer or maybe more thought-provoking and more mind-stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say. If it's somebody who's just like, oh, nah, I like Sorry and that's what I like, then this isn't the game for them.
Yeah, maybe start with something else, and then if they happen to like that, eventually introducing this. But this wouldn't be the first game I would introduce to somebody who'd never played modern games before.
Mm-hmm.
So
if somebody likes chess, though, I think you could just go to this game right away.
That's a good
no
point,
problem.
because I have an uncle who actually got me into chess as a child and really was the beginning of my interest in board games. And I got him this game as a Christmas present. He ended up really liking it. So
yeah,
there you go. So Julie, the big question is, are we keeping this game to play or are we trading it away?
No, we're keeping it to play.
Yes. I'm so excited. Yes. Because I told you this is one of my favorite games. It still is. And I am so happy that you liked it too and that we could share that together.
Yeah, I love how every time I beat you, I was all like, ooh, I beat you on your favorite game.
Yeah, you're like, what's that, Dave? You have like 100% chance of winning this game? So that came to a crushing conclusion of my whole win streak in my life of playing this game. Apparently I'm not the San Juan master that I thought I was. But that's okay. But thank you anyways for taking that 10x10 journey with me, Julie, into San Juan. And thank you so much for listening. That is all that we have for this week. We want to hear from you. If you want to reach out to us, feel free to email at thedicegestures@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at dicegestures. Be sure to join us next week for our next in-depth look at a game, which will be Targi. And until then, play all the games with the ones you love.